Bitcoin rallied up to a new yearly high as it topped out at a range of $44,700. In today's video, we're going to be jumping down into the latest updates for Bitcoin, what I think is going on with that price action and what I think is happening next. Let's roll that intro and get right down into it. Okay guys, so here we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT. We are on the 1 hour Binance chart and yeah, let's reflect on what's going on, right? So we hit this new yearly high just up here at the $44,700 level. Okay, this is signaling a bigger move to the upside where we are targeting out our range just here at the $45,139 to $45,556. Okay, now as we can see in the most recent few hours, we've started to see a bit of a pull to the downside. This looks pretty standard as a three-wave pattern. So if we take a look at this, we've kind of gone down right into that range where we would expect to kind of go. This is actually directly on the 1-to-1 at the moment at 43,709. Our wick to the low side is at 43,720 at the moment. So you can see pretty much, I think if I actually go ahead and put this right on the correct wick high, you can see that we're very, very close to our target range. You can see just here how close we are on there. We're not yet there, so you know it can be done with how close this is, but our actual kind of range that we kind of would expect us to move on into is going to be right here between 43,554 to $43,706. Okay, so that's going to be the range that we would expect us to go to. This will be a three-wave pattern with an A, B, and C to keep it nice and simple. Now, as you can kind of see, if we do go down lower than the 45,554, then that is going to trigger a W, X, Y, X, and Z structure where we would not expect price to pierce lower than 43,308. Okay, so understanding that this structure is for the behavior of staying within the range between the 43,554 and 43,706. If we change or go down lower than that, then it is going to change our structure from the ABC that you see here more into a W, X, Y, X, and Z. Okay, so if we do come down deeper, then this will be the expectation within our structured move here. Okay, so that kind of answers the question as to kind of where we are right now. You can find support on the 50 EMA, 50 SMA right in this little range here. So I'm not expecting us to go down into that WXYXZ. I'm expecting this to hold out and I'm expecting us to kind of move on up from here. This is, of course, a previous area of resistance. Let me show you what that looks like. Right in here, as you can kind of see, this area between 43,687 and 43,925 is the area of previous resistance that we broke through. We're coming back down and just testing. Okay, this is essentially a secondary test of this area as well. So looking pretty interesting from that point of view. Now, we are tracking, in my opinion, a diagonal ending structure for the fifth wave movement. Again, this is basically showing us that we haven't got a huge amount to the upside to be expected here, but you can kind of see we'll be looking for that final move upwards. If we have bottomed out here, where we are right now, then you know we are going to be looking at just tapping into that lower range. Essentially, if I zoom in here just a little bit, you can see it's 44,934 to 45,316. That's going to be that higher range on that fifth wave movement based on the existing low. The lower that our wave 4 goes, the higher that wave 5 will go. As you can kind of see, as I pull this Fibonacci retracement tool down, we get bigger numbers on the higher side. Okay, so we can see how that adjusts. If I snap it back to that wick, you can see it comes right in line with our fifth wave expectations. And where we have the overlap between our fifth wave on the larger side and the fifth wave on the smaller side, or the nested fifth wave movement, that overlap is really the key area where I think we're going to see massive rejection. So on our hourly chart, everything has kind of progressed quite nicely in that direction. Everything's looking like it's moving on up as kind of expected at this point. And we are looking to finish off that extension within our fifth wave movement. So if I bring this up into the daily time frame here, you can see the expanding diagonal. We've got the big explosive fifth wave movement. We're just trying to finish off that final fifth wave movement within that structure. So it looks like this: wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's where we are. All of that 5 wave moves that we're just talking about on the hourly chart, for example, are those nested inside this larger fifth wave movement. Okay, this fifth wave movement in itself is, of course, a part of a bigger 5 wave structure that sits inside a 5 wave move in itself as well. Okay, so everything is nesting in nicely. We obviously did get that overextension within that fifth wave, which in hindsight is very obvious considering the expanding diagonal, which I completely missed, but that's on me. And as we can kind of see here, yeah, we've kind of got a pretty decent position on the daily time frame. Now, as you can see as well, we're overbought on the stochastic daily. And if I throw it on the divergence indicator, we haven't got anything of concern there. So that's okay. I'm not too worried about any of that. Volume profiles are on the decrease here as we've kind of tapped up into those higher ranges, but we are still going up into higher highs with a decrease in volumes. So again, same story, different day. As you can see, volumes are really, really low across this daily time frame. Even if you zoom in, you try to get a little bit spike on those volumes. You can, of course, see that volumes are decreasing as we've pushed up into this ending diagonal as well. So a little bit of divergence in terms of your volume profiles and price action. So just be aware of that. Otherwise, yeah, I see us with big moves to the downside coming here on BTC. Throw some smart money concepts into the mix here. You've got some of these fair value gaps, which we are looking to kind of get filled out. So the first one of interest is going to be the 35,735 to 37,653. That's going to be an interesting point of reference for us. Then after that, we are talking about the one down here at $30,248 to $32,832. So all of that is still kind of playing out quite nicely. Take it up into the weekly. We have our parallel channel. This still is technically an ascending wedge if you take it from the higher side. Up to here. But for now, I'm not terribly too concerned about it. I think regardless to kind of what it is, wedge or higher highs, higher lows, these will have a tendency to break on down. We're testing the higher range, which means we are looking to test that low range. That low range is currently less than $30,000. You can see that the EMAs are also down in the low range of this parallel channel. This is an indication that price is likely to come on down into that low range to find support on either the EMAs or the lower trend line. And so we want to be a little bit cautious. There's obviously some areas of interest for us as we kind of think about price moving on down. So let's go ahead and talk about that first one. The first kind of area of support which we might be able to find will be 36,262 to 37,717. After that, and if we do drop down lower, then we are talking about 30,330 to 31,818. And if you do lose that and go down lower, then talking about the next level of support being 24,756 to 26,878. Lose that, then the next area of interest for me will of course be right here at 19,569 to $21,789. So we have a lot of interesting areas of support to potentially be found here for Bitcoin. But for now, it looks like we are going to kind of start seeing reversals once we tap into those slightly higher ranges on the hourly chart. And we're going to look to see if we can find good support on this journey to the downside. We're heavily overbought on that daily time frame, that weekly time frame, as you can kind of see here, and the monthly time frame. Essentially, we're not looking in strong positions. Take a look at that monthly time frame right here. You can, of course, see that last time that we were this overbought on the monthly stochastic RSI was before the bear market. Okay, that's not to say that you have to go down right away, because you can see that you can be up here overbought for a very sustained period of time, as we saw through December 2015 all the way through to December 2017. It was overbought for that entire duration. It is possible that we do something very similar here. If we don't, and we only tap into it for a short period of time like we saw maybe back in July of 2019, well, in which case we're going to see a pretty significant correction of around 50 to 60%. So I'm going to be really kind of cautious here and say I'm expecting kind of like a 40% reduction in price for Bitcoin, which will get us into nice accumulative zones zones. If that doesn't play out and we go down deeper and we go into these kind of areas of deeper retracement like we saw in March of 2020, then of course, it's all kind of going to be kind of coming together and wrecking retail investors. Alternatively, of course, we can just pretend we're moon boys and just think that everything goes up and never comes down. And so we just ignore all the red on the chart and we maybe just turn all the red candles into green candles and we're golden, right? So there's always that as a possibility. Obviously, I am jesting. I do not think that we can go up forever, and I am expecting us to start to move on down really, really soon. Ultimately, we'll see how those levels of support are going to react, and or whether price is going to find good levels of support at the higher ranges rather than the lower ranges, and we'll kind of take it from there. And so I'm going to leave the video right there. In fact, if you have found it useful, informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.